Hello, my name is Cody. Welcome to the Unifying Field podcast, where we journey beyond the black and white into the vast spectrum of human experience. Here we explore the great question of why we are here, seeking wisdom in all traditions and unity in our diversity. My mission is to bridge worlds, uniting hearts and minds through conversation, curiosity, and the shared wonder of existence. So take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mind and join me as we step into the infinite together. In today's world, we aren't incentivized to sit still. No, it's work, and work some more. It's our Western culture, really. We're always working toward a better life. The American dream of more stuff, more money, more things, more peace. Yeah, right. Biggie said it best. More money, more problems. There's nothing wrong with money, but it's not where we'll find peace, nor is it where we'll find God. Instead of sitting still, our minds are flooded with advertising for this Band-Aid or that Band-Aid. You have alcohol, tobacco, weed, vapes, social media. Yeah, that's a drug too. Shit food. Pharmaceutical companies. Can't forget about our friends over there. You have your Prozac, your Lexapro, and countless other things to enable you to continue living your fast-paced life without having to feel what is going on within. Our culture does not reward those who sit still. In fact, it feels like we'll get left behind if we do. So why should you sit still? If the world around you is going to leave you behind, where exactly are you being left behind at? Where is it that everyone else is getting to that you're missing out on? They're going after more money, right? What did Biggie say? More money, more problems. Is anyone else actually getting somewhere by never stopping and being still for a bit? Or is it that just what it looks like from the outside? I've certainly felt that way. We as humans share a lot of the same suffering. Our poor minds and bodies are often running up against their limits constantly. We can't sleep because of all the caffeine and whatever else energy drinks have. I should be sponsored by Monster by now for how many white monsters I've consumed. We're in fight or flight mode 24/7 because of our worries and from how our traumas have shaped the lens through which we view the world. So we use pills to help with that. Drugs and alcohol are disguised as social lubricants, and we spend what free time we have intoxicated. Whereas in the hours we work and the jobs we hate, we're sober because we have to be. Life is backwards. So then why would you want to meditate? Well, at a minimum, you might become a little more peaceful. You may find that you no longer need alcohol, drugs, or antidepressants to cope with life. I always viewed prescription drugs that are meant for the mind as tools to provide a person with enough space to breathe so that they may work on the things that are causing them to need chemical support. I myself was at the end of my life, and the prescriptions I was put on bought me enough space and time to find meditation. Without those prescription drugs, I wouldn't be here today. So I know meds aren't necessarily a bad thing, so long as they are used to provide space to heal. Otherwise, just like alcohol and everything else, Pills are merely Band-Aids. We may keep the Band-Aid on for life and just accept life as it is. Or we can remove the need for the Band-Aid. Regardless of what your mind may tell you and society too, I promise you are not broken. I know we can't control what happened to us in the past. There will always be scars as reminders of the hell we have endured. But we don't have to be in prison forever by those experiences in our minds, if we don't want to be. We've always had the key to exit the prison cell. It is up to us whether we shall unlock the door and leave. And thus meditation can create the same space as pills are meant to create, but it gives you agency instead of dependency. You not only cultivate space to breathe, but you are given the tools you always had to work on the things that need attention. And the side effects of meditating are positive, not negative. Your mind becomes quieter. You gain control over emotions and ego, and you're able to see your struggles and release things that once held you down and kept you captive. You're literally able to work on things at a subconscious level. One of my favorite things you can do with meditation is unbinding mental chains to people who hurt you in the past through forgiveness meditations. It doesn't excuse the wrongs people did or make it okay, but it does free you from your attachment to them, which is what it's all about. It is limitless what you can do with meditation. You may even notice that the grass is green for the first time in your life. In the back of your mind, you knew it was green. But do you ever remember looking? That was me. I was blown away by the beauty of the grass on the way to school when I finally looked. I never saw it before because I was never present in the moment I was in. And I think most importantly, what the world is truly yearning for, and probably thinks they are running towards, is something you cannot find outside of the present moment. You will not find God outside of this moment. You will not find real peace outside of this moment. So when you work so hard constantly for a better future, you'll always fall short of your goal. It is almost as if by running to the future and from the past, we're also running away from God. Or rather, you're running away from peace. So let the world run towards the illusion of happiness and peace, which they'll never be able to hold on to. Be bold and be still with meditation. The physical dreams will still be there after you sit still, I promise. You may find yourself more capable of achieving them by mastering your mind. Unfortunately, not everyone is successful at sitting still. And that's not because they're incapable. It's because no one taught them how to relate to their mind. You say, I've tried meditating. I just can't do it. My mind runs and I can't concentrate. It's all over the place. Yeah, that's true. It's true for every person's mind on earth. So your situation is no different than anyone else's. Yet countless people are successful at meditating. So why aren't you? Are they special and you not? No, and no. First, let's look at the human mind. It is the nature of the human mind to think. And in thinking, you acquire problems. You cannot control it by force. You could say, all right, mind, stop thinking. Doesn't work because that too is a thought. Is the pot calling the kettle black? You saying, "Stop thinking," is the mind yelling at itself. Not controlling the mind with force seems counterintuitive. I know. I feel like we are conditioned to think that in order to make changes, we must do something. So it seems like you should grit your teeth and make yourself stop thinking. But this doesn't work. When you fight it, it is going to win the battle in the end. Because strangely, as I just mentioned, the one who is fighting the mind is the same mind you want to overcome to be successful at meditating. So we must be more subtle and clever if we want to overcome it. Everything about working with the mind is subtle. Subtle states of consciousness or awareness, subtle worlds, subtle realms, subtle shifts of perception. Just remember the word subtle. You practice subtlety through gentle training of the mind. I was trying to think of a way to relate this. And then I thought of the nature of what it is that thinks. It's like a wild animal. That is literally what it is, as the ego makes up not only our identity, but our most primal nature, which drives us to want to survive and reproduce. And as a wild animal, to master it means we need to tame it. But if we took a stick and tried beating the animal, it's going to be terrified of us and will not respect us. There are many who overcome the mind through the power of will, like an exercise. But I spent a lot of my life trying to fight a battle with a mind that I would never win. If we apply subtlety to this taming, we gain its trust and respect, gently guiding it into the state we're going for. I hope this doesn't confuse you too much. The paradox is that you are both the trainer and the wild animal you are trying to train. Or at least for now, you think that you are the one who thinks. Or you think you are the wild animal. So then you attempt to meditate, and because you can't control it by force, after a couple of breaths, it picks you up with a thought and carries you off into its fantasies. You forget that you were meditating. You are completely lost in whatever drama it has you focused on. Oh, I've got that bill that I have to pay. I'm not sure how to pay that yet. I'm really worried about that. Oh, I almost forgot I have to pick up dinner today. My son has hockey practice at 6. I hope Maddie's mom isn't there. She's quite annoying. She'll for sure try to get me to sign up for Herbalife again. What a pyramid scheme that is. How do they get away with that? What kind of food should I pick up for dinner? Italian sounds pretty good. Should we do pizza? Maybe pasta. I feel like I was doing something. Oh shit, I was supposed to be meditating. And so after realizing you got swept away in thoughts, you beat yourself up like I told you not to. I can't do this. I should have stayed focused. I can't meditate. All right, put the stick down and quit beating yourself up. Does any of that resonate with you? It should, because it happens to everybody in their journey to learning to meditate. The only difference between someone who is successful at meditating and someone who isn't is grace. It is the nature of the human mind to think. If you can accept that, you realize that you cannot change the nature of a wild animal. And if you beat yourself up, you will likely get discouraged and quit. Go easier on yourself and be patient with progress. It is okay to be swept away by the river of thoughts. If we are 5 minutes lost in la la land, no worries. Gently bring the attention back to our focus point and continue. This, my friend, is meditation. But wait, I lost focus countless times, and in a 10-minute meditation, I was only focused for maybe a minute. Well, let me ask you this. In the last 24 hours, actually, let's zoom out even more. In the past year, how many minutes were you as focused and present of this moment as you were in that 1 minute? 1 minute of focus in a 10-minute meditation is worth everything. Because guess what? In the next meditation, you may gain 10 seconds of focus time. And then the next, maybe another 10 seconds, and so on. And before you know it, your mind is quieter. You are present in the world you find yourself in. You're getting swept away by anxiety and depression with much less, and so on. Those dramas that once picked you up and carried you off into la la land and meditation aren't happening in your normal day-to-day life as much. 1 minute of focus, or even 10 seconds of focus, is worth more than gold, my friend. Now that we have compassion for ourselves in this new venture, now we must apply discipline. Meditation is a skill that we must practice to master. That's right. We must do it every day. I'm willing to bet that most people who claim they cannot meditate believe they can't because they didn't achieve the goal in their first meditation. Maybe not even in their second, third, fifth, or 10th. Perhaps they beat themselves up like we discussed and never tried again, forever believing they cannot meditate. Let me ask you this. If you were trying to tame a real wild animal, would it be better to work with the animal one day and call it good? Or would it be better to spend every day with it, gaining its trust and familiarity with you, building a bond with you with gentle training? Hopefully the answer is obvious. In the beginning, you don't know what the goal is. And actually, that innocence, I'm not going to call it ignorance. That innocence should enable you to have no expectations. So you won't know what the stillness is, and therefore you shouldn't try to reach it. Instead, it is better to be disciplined by meditating every day, and you will learn what the stillness is. How long should I meditate each day? I really don't think it matters. I've been meditating off and on for the last 12 years or so, but consistently every day for the past year and a half. My meditations last between 5 minutes when I'm really not wanting to meditate to 1 hour when I really want to meditate. But on average, I spend 15 to 30 minutes in meditation every day, sometimes twice a day. I really don't care how much you meditate or how little. What is more important is to do it no matter what. If you can do it for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, great. If you can only do it for 5 minutes, that is just as great. The key to being successful at meditation is not length of time, but intentional practice of focused attention. And in those shorter meditations, let's look at it this way. If you are only able to focus for 1 minute in a 10-minute meditation in the beginning, later in your practice, as you become more skilled in this discipline, you will be able to stay focused for 3.5 minutes in a 5-minute meditation later on. This is why I say that the time you spend meditating doesn't matter. What matters more is intentional practice for however much time you are willing to give in a particular day. The wild animal in you does not want to sit still. Doing it anyway is taming the wild animal. The single most important lesson I've learned in my whole life seems on the surface to be really simple. And that is, let go or surrender. But it is not as simple as it seems. In fact, it's really difficult. Every day I have to learn what that means, and I get it wrong all the time because it isn't straightforward. Some days I understand it. Other days I fail miserably at it. There's a reason for this. Surrender in meditation doesn't mean doing nothing. It means stopping the mind from trying to manage the moment. It quite literally means getting out of your own way, which is puzzling for the mind. What needs to get out of the way is the rational thinking mind, which is the one who is puzzled, so that your true nature can simply be. However, the wild animal we have been trying to tame does not want to relinquish control. It says, I've got this. I'll help you out of this hole you find yourself in. Unfortunately, it is what dug the hole and threw you in it in the first place. Of course, in this case, it isn't about digging holes. It's about understanding the mind so we can gently tame it and get it out of the way. Your mind may be saying, I know how to surrender. Does your mind really know this? That thought is coming from what needs to be let go of. Despite whether the mind's intentions are pure or not, it is what is in the way of progressing in meditation. It's a subtle dance we are doing. We are gently holding our focus as best we can and gently bringing it back to the focus point. You may set the intention for what your goal is within the meditation, but do not attach to any particular outcome. If you get there, who cares? If you don't get there, who cares? Or in the opposite sense, if you get there, great. If you don't get there, great. Trying to do something in meditation is the mind trying to do something. So instead, we increasingly let go of control. However, there is some level of trying. It's not like we're not trying at all. Like I said, it's a subtle dance we're playing. But it is just enough to keep your focus. Otherwise, you'll just lose yourself in a daydream or may fall asleep. With practice, you will learn what it means to surrender. Now that we know the fundamentals, how do we hold our attention on one point? A very effective method for learning to relax so that you may enter the stillness is a body scan meditation. Body scans not only show you where you might be tensing muscles so that you can release and relax, they also show you how to place your awareness wherever you like. We'll talk more about this shortly. I want to show you how to do this. If you can, and if it's safe, direct your attention to your feet. Feel your feet and tense them up. Curl your toes and hold that tension for a moment. Now release and relax. Move your attention up to your calf muscles. Feel those muscles and tense them for a moment. Now release and relax. Move up to your thighs. Tense your quads and your hamstrings and your glutes. Hold it momentarily and release. Release and relax. Move up to your stomach. Tense your stomach muscles for a moment. Release and relax. Now we move up to our chest. Tense your chest muscles and hold it for a moment. Now release and relax. Now move your awareness to your back muscles. Arch your back a little bit. Tense the muscles that you're able to. Hold it for a moment and release. Now we're going to do our arms as one, from your hands up to your shoulders. Make fists with your hands if possible and squeeze. Now begin tensing your forearms, and then into your upper arms and your biceps and your triceps. And finally, tense up your shoulder muscles and hold this for just a moment. Now release and relax. We'll finish this off with looking at the shoulders and jaws. These are two common areas where we like to hold tension. Shrug your shoulders a bit, and then release any tension. Now place your awareness at your mouth and allow your jaw to relax. Let your teeth separate and relax. I grouped a lot of muscles together in this body scan I walked you through. But you can just as easily place awareness on any single muscle. You can even hold your awareness in your heart, as I showed you in the Sacred Heart of Jesus episode. The way I explained it there was I had you place your hand on your chest over your heart. And you can feel that heart space. Being able to hold your awareness is an important part of meditation, which is why I walked you through the body scan. You can now move your awareness anywhere and hold it there. The tensing part was only for the body scan, by the way. Now we can think about methods of meditation. The easiest method is through guided meditation. There are infinite guided meditations out there, free on YouTube and wherever else. Guided meditations are where I started 12 years ago. I started with Jonathan Parker's Pathways to Mastership course. I highly recommend his stuff. I still get his emails and see his YouTube videos that he makes. He's been doing that. He's been guiding people in meditation for many, many years, since the 80s. Guided meditations are an easy way to let go and simply follow the instructions provided by the person guiding you. You practically take the mind out of the equation. But today, for myself, I especially enjoy simplicity. Mastering meditation isn't about doing something very advanced. It's about mastering the basics. And it helps to return to the basics from time to time. My point of focus in my daily practice is on the breath. And often I hold my awareness at my stomach, which I'll watch rise and fall as I breathe. I breathe in and follow it as it goes in. And then I breathe out and follow it as it goes out. And then I notice the pause between breaths. I set a timer here and do this for as long as I feel like doing on that day. Now I overlay the thought of a word over the in breath, the out breath, and the pause. You can change this to any words or count methods that resonate best with you. But I'm going to walk you through what I do, and then I'll show you some alternatives. So beginning on the in breath, as I begin to breathe in, I resonate hard for the length of the in breath. I'm not speaking this out loud, I'm thinking this. It's just a thought overlay. So we'll start again. Breathing in, I think hard. Then breathing out, I think hadad. Now we've reached the pause between breaths. And I say heka. So it goes had, hadad, heka, had, hadad, heka, and it repeats. We aren't trying to control the breath, but to let it flow in and out as it naturally does. You aren't speaking this out loud. You are simply overlaying these words. Here's an alternative to that. As you breathe in, think breathing in. As you breathe out, think breathing out. On the pause, do a count and think 1. So this would look like breathing in, breathing out, 1. Breathing in, breathing out, 2. Breathing in, breathing out, 3. And so on. You may do this simple meditation in any number of forms. You may count on each pause between breaths. I used to do this. I would try to count to 10 by counting each time I reached the pause between breaths. If I got distracted and lost count, which happened all the time, I would start over at 0 without beating myself up. That's the key. And if you reach the top at 10, congratulations. You win the prize of going back to 0 and starting over. I would do this for however long I felt like doing it on that day. No goals, just the act of following the breath. And not a lot has changed, even today. The only difference now is that I start the meditation method and let it run on its own in the background. And I rest at home in awareness. And this is all the point of meditation. Cultivate stillness, which is our true nature, and bring it into our daily life. The more we cultivate it and grow it with practice, the more time our daily life is spent inside the stillness. And the more we can act from clarity instead of reaction to, based on emotions from our traumas and all this other bullshit. And so here we are, really close to the end. And you may have noticed by now that I didn't talk about the gatekeeper of meditation known as posture. Must I sit in full lotus position with my back perfectly straight before I can meditate? No, absolutely not. If you waited until you could sit in that position, you would never start, as that would take most people years to become flexible for that, if they could even reach it at all. Sit in a chair, lie down, lean against the wall, sit in your car, sit cross-legged in some manner if you like. I reached the stillness after about 2 weeks of meditating every day while lying on my back in bed. The only thing that matters is comfort. Although, you are way more likely to fall asleep while lying down because you will get extremely relaxed during meditation. So keep that in mind. Cultivate posture in the mind, otherwise known as stillness. And then, only then is it worth thinking about posture of the body. Yes, it will make a difference at some point, but it will never make a difference if you never start. So until then, being comfortable while meditating will empower you to cultivate discipline. And that is way more important in the long run of developing the skill of meditation. So yeah, meditation is weird. It's weird to sit still in a world that rewards constant motion. It's weird to stop trying to fix yourself. It's weird to discover that peace isn't something you earn, but something you remember. That's part of your true nature. Meditation isn't about becoming someone better. It's about realizing you were never broken in the first place. If you take anything from this episode, let it be this. You don't need to win at meditation. You don't need to silence your mind. It's a wild animal after all, and it's its nature to think. You don't need to have some dramatic experience. I'm almost blind when it comes to that. I know people just meditate one time and they blast off into outer space and have these crazy adventures. That's not me. All you need is a willingness to sit. Notice when you're lost and gently come back. Again and again and again. That act alone rewires how you relate to your thoughts, your emotions, and your life. The world will still demand your attention tomorrow. Your responsibilities won't disappear. Your goals won't evaporate. But if you learn how to rest in stillness, even briefly, you'll meet all of it from a different place. Be bold enough to sit still. Be gentle enough to fail. And be disciplined enough to return. That's meditation. Thank you for joining me on this journey today with the Unifying Field podcast. We've touched on just a fraction of the vastness that connects us all. But remember, the exploration never ends. Keep asking questions, keep seeking answers, and stay curious. As we part ways, may you carry a little more wonder, a little more peace, and a renewed sense of connection with the world around you. Till next time, take a deep breath, question everything, and remember, the infinite is always within reach. Please like and subscribe and share with anyone you think may enjoy this type of content.